I'd like to call the Thursday, February 25th special meeting to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Epperson?
Here.
Councilmember Ratten?
Here.
Vice Mayor Atlas?
Here.
And Mayor Rose.
Here. I'd like to stand to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I get approval for the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda to remove the times.
I will second the change with the agenda with the second of, with the removal of the times.
Okay.
Not agreeable.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No? Ayes have it. We've removed the times from the agenda. And just so what everyone knows what that is, if we can move along quicker, we will. And if someone doesn't show up at a certain time, we'll just wait for them because they were told to be here at a certain time, so. Okay, so we'll move on to regular agenda. Interviews for vacancy on the Ione City Council to fill the unexpired term of 2020 to 2024 and a possible appointment. And we're going to start with Miss Mary McBride. Would you please like to come up and sit at the chair?
Will we sit here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to pull the microphone a little closer to you so people
Thank you.
online
Is that
can
better?
hear you. Okay. How many do we have people online, Janice?
Just voice and I am.
Okay. All right, so I guess how we're going to start this is we have a couple of questions here. We've all read your resume. So who would like to start off with the questioning?
Ladies first. First of all, thank you very
Story's
much
not
for,
dead.
thanks for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yes, thank you very much. Your first question, please tell me about yourself, your background, and why you believe you would be the best qualified to serve as a city council member for the city of Ione.
Wow, about myself. That's great. I came here from Portola, California, where my husband and I lived for 30 years. Built a home up there. He was a 25-year firefighter, career firefighter, and he passed away. And then I decided the house was way too big for one person, so I wanted down out of the snow country, so I moved here a year ago. 3 sons and lots of grandkids and great-grandkids. And I was very proud to serve on, this broke really hot.
You can take it off or pull it down.
Yeah, you can pull
so
it down if
breathe.
you want.
There you go.
That's much better.
We're distant.
We're far enough apart, you can breathe.
Thank you. Anyway, my whole career was spent in health information management for hospitals, working in medical records and medical staff, officer, and quality assurance. And I worked, as you can tell in my letters, I worked for many hospitals. The one in Reno was a trauma center, and then the Mercy System, several of the Mercy System hospitals. And I retired, I transferred to Portola, little hospital in Portola, in 2002. And in 2006, I retired. While I was working at the hospital, I worked on the board of directors for the hospital. After I retired, I worked as a board member for 8 years. My husband has served on the board after he retired for several years as well, and I took his place when he left. Very proud to do it. It's, as you could tell, one most of my references come from hospitals and doctors, and very proud to serve. Is there anything else you want to know?
Why do you believe you would be the best candidate to serve on the city council?
Well, I have my wits about me, and we, as a board of directors, we went through a lot. Of course, as you know, one even came to, maybe I don't know if I should say this. Excusing one of the officers of the hospital, which was very, very difficult. But we did it, and it was for the best for the facility. And with my experience in management for all of those years and being on the board, I was also on the board of directors of the hospital auxiliary, which that auxiliary thrift store, it was, is, brought in probably about $250,000 a year as a thrift store under my management for a while. And then we hired a manager, and the money from that thrift store went to medical equipment for the hospital. They just had to give us a request and we write a check. That was our purpose. So anyway, my experience, I believe, sets me up for this, and I want to be involved. So.
Thank you.
Okay, your next question. Do you have specific goals you want to achieve in the 4-year term of this appointment, and do you have longer term goals you would like to see the city move toward in the next 10 years?
Well, I wish I knew more about the city of Ione, because I just moved here, so I don't know the history, but one of my goals is being on the city council so I can learn about the city and what your responsibilities are. I've never been on a city council, and all of the duties that you have and the committees and the protocols, and I just don't know, and I do want to find out, and I want to be an active member of that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and welcome to Ione, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi there, Ian. I know Portola well. I lived in Reno for many years, and it's a nice place out there, but you're right, it's very snowy in the wintertime.
Yeah.
My question is, if you are appointed to the city council as a prospective council member, are you currently aware of any potential conflicts of interest which would prevent you from fully participating in council decisions? In addition to regular council meetings, you will have committee assignments that involve both day and nighttime meetings. Do you have the ability to fulfill this requirement?
Yes, I do.
And then any potential conflicts?
No, I do not.
Okay. That's an easy one.
It's the longest one and it's the easiest.
You're up, Dan.
What do you see as Ione's most pressing issue, and how can you be part of the solution to help solve it?
Oh, that's a good one. Sorry.
Parking.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's an issue.
That is a good one.
And I'd like to see more small businesses come here, and whatever can be done. I don't know if city council does things like that, but encourage businesses to come here. I'm from a small town, so it's important to have those small businesses in our community. So I'd like to see that, but I don't know, like I said, if the city council deals with anything like that. But
Okay. Last question, Diane?
I messed up the order, sorry.
Yeah, so we're on 5, right?
We're on 5.
Yeah, we're on 5.
Last question, just so you know.
How many local committees or service boards have you been involved in within the past 5 years? And do you regularly attend council meetings?
absolutely. When I was on the board, I attended every one. And let's see, how do I say this? I'm not normally, I don't get sick. I don't get
That's
the
good.
flu or a cold or pneumonia or, so day, night, whatever.
And have you attended any of our council meetings?
No, I just found out that through your newsletter that you have an opening, so I thought, oh, perfect opportunity to know more about the city.
Okay.
I just know everyone here is so friendly, neighbors and the business people and everyone. So,
Just so you know, if you get this or not, there's a lot of community things out there that you might like to help with too, that are looking for help from people like you, so.
okay,
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a number of committees, there's plenty actually involved in opportunities. Some are in the newsletter and some are just on the internet mostly, I think some of them. COVID's kind of got that a little bit changed around, it's everything just kind of offline right now, or jumping
Yeah.
around a little bit.
it's getting better.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
Um,
We're starting to see a little,
But we certainly, can deal with the restrictions and the 6 feet apart, and we would hope that the public does that too. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
We got-
What's the next thing? is You can ask away now.
Do you work under the Brown Act?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Because it's really, it keeps you in tune, like what you're supposed to be doing. And I've worked under that for 8 years.
Well, that's good.
Our auxiliary wasn't under the Brown Act because it didn't deal with legislative bodies. But do you have occasion to work with legislative bodies, or are you a legislative body? You're not?
Yeah, we're the legislative
We are
body
the
for the city of Ione,
Right.
Okay,
and we work with the county, and, we work with the state as well, a lot of that's one way.
Okay.
We do what they tell us to do, but.
well, hey,
They're a little bigger than we are.
yeah,
They get kind
Pardon?
of, the state's a little bigger than we are, so they kind of boss us around a bit. But yes, we definitely do work with them.
yeah, good.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No,
Okay.
I guess not.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you
You're more than
all.
welcome to stick around for the next grueling 4 hours. Or you can go, or you can go and come back. Supposedly,
Are you
when we,
really gonna be here 4 hours?
We're hoping everyone's as quick as you are.
yeah.
We're hoping everybody is brief and has their answers well thought out for
Right.
us. So, but other than that, yes, we will.
I'm ready.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we, there's- You're more than welcome to take a seat. Okay, Chris, we have Chris Strong at the seat for those of you flying or on the phone. We're gonna ask you 5 questions. Who would like to start the questioning this time?
we just keep the same order, I think that way we've got some consistency,
That's
that's
fine.
easier to evaluate,
All
I
right.
think, this is mine.
Again, I always end up with 2.
You're the best reader, though.
Okay, if you could please tell us about yourself, background, and why you believe you would be the best qualified to serve as a city council member for the city of Ione.
Okay, so these are new questions for me to read. So my name is Christopher Strong, like you said. I lived in Ione for about 2009, so 10 or 11 years. And best qualified to serve as city council member. Well, this is obviously interesting times. I don't know if I'm going to answer a few questions at once on this, but I don't want to. These
That's
maybe
all right.
all blurring
You
together.
can just
Okay.
stream of consciousness, whatever you feel you need to say.
So, my goal and my belief in being on the council would be purely to be the benefit for the city and what would best fit for the city. when I applied for this, obviously it's only about 2 weeks ago, and I don't want to, I know there's other people that, well, I've since done more research. First I was thinking it's more of a 10-hour-a-week type thing, but personally for me, and to be effective, where I think I would be able to be helpful and to be read up and experienced, not just on city matters, but county implications. And obviously there's issues with me for disclosure, as I have 2 existing contracts with the city. One for environmental consulting for the groundwater monitoring, and another for landscaping work. And even though I think I could recuse myself hypothetically if I was on the city council, there could be, the last thing I would want is for some member of the city to see some potential conflict and to become a distraction from the city. And so obviously, and since this last week, as you all know, these are interesting times coming out of the corona. So I'm a father of 3 sons, and in the minor league, little league division, they didn't have a third coach for Ione. So in the past week, I'm looking at the city council demands, and I offered to coach baseball. The kids need to get outside, and they need a coach, third team. So basically what I'd like to humbly, respectfully offer for my services is whatever volunteer things on the side where I could be more involved and be learning, whether it's planning Parks and Rec or the new park going down on West Marlette. I'd like to be available in whatever way benefits the city. And from my experience as a geologist doing consulting work, sometimes honestly it is best just having a completely third-party person dealing with your environmental, so that there's no way they can say you were pressuring the consultant, or whether you did or didn't. So I'm not trying to sort of skirt my way out of this.
Well, I was just gonna ask you, are you
But
respectfully withdrawing your application, or are you?
Well, I like I said, if this is your vote, if you deem that I would be the most qualified, I'm not gonna withdraw my application, but I would offer, with the demands going on with Little League and the potential conflict of interest going on with those 2 contracts I have, and that I would honestly probably discourage against that. It's probably not something that you guys want to handle right now if it ever came up. And I haven't thoroughly looked at all the other candidates, but I would assume the other people that applied and were more experienced with politics were. It'd be hard to argue against that, because basically this whole coronavirus has, I can speak for myself, really woken me up to the levels of control that can be placed over us in our communities. And so I want to be more and more involved in the city to counter that and to keep our communities, to reopen our businesses and to have constitutional protections against vaccines and whatever authority we can have as a city. I'm supporting it, but I possibly with my, and also just to put this out there, I work at the mine right up the hill, which owns a considerable amount of acres nearby the city, so there could be a potential conflict of interest there if someone saw that, if I had an agenda to try to push the mine's interests onto the city or something like that. And honestly, as just a third party, at least for this season and the next 2 years or so, if I could be available to help whatever planning issues or whatever, things that where the mine could help support the city, I'm very connected with the mine, so I could be cooperative with that too. So I'm just basically trying to say that I want to help you guys as much as possible. I don't want to waste too much of your time tonight, but if I was chosen, I would have to quit coaching that team to be able to do what I feel would be an effective job. So I hate
With
to
that said, we can put you to work whether you get this or not.
Right.
Yeah, and that's,
Doing all kinds of cool stuff out there.
Yeah.
And I've worked with you before, we could have some
Yeah.
fun, so.
yeah, so that's where I want to be, and I'd let, the more I could, I mean, it's more of it's self-education, right? Because I'm not the type of person where I was, I would want to be a politician. I wanted to be as far away from that as possible. I went into science and other things, so, but honestly, I feel like we're at a point in history in our country where we need to make choices as a city, as a county, that are going to be difficult, and if we band together, because basically I see, and I don't want to ramble on, but our money has gone from Main Street to Amazon, Walmart, and corporate interests, and we have been looted of our local economy. And so those are the type of things, along with just volunteer work, that I want to support however I can.
Okay. Well, that was a long answer.
Thank you,
to-
Chris.
Well, good, thank you. Thank you.
Rather than try to weasel through, all through these, and it's just, I just wanted this.
Appreciate your being honest, so.
So if there's any things in 2, 3, or 4, or 5 that,
I think you
I think you covered them all.
up.
I think you covered it through 10.
We appreciate you at least putting your name in.
Yeah.
I mean, it is it's a commitment.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's other
More than
things.
10 hours a week, that's for sure.
and I would like to study up to a level where I feel like I could be part of the city.
Sure.
I just don't think I'm at that point right now.
Well,
Okay.
and I would be a little concerned for you, having the 2 contracts.
Yeah.
There may be, it may be come down to a choice of those contracts or
Well,
sitting on.
yeah, and the
council.
question is, would I be willing to give up those
Those
contracts? Well,
contracts.
maybe, but would the city want to put out a new RFP for the monitoring and go through all that process? I don't think you would either.
I got a fun little project for you. Remember when you asked to change arsenic from a class, whatever it was, to a whatever, when I worked at the mine?
Okay?
You want to attack the water board and tell them to no longer test for iron and manganese and tell them why?
I've already proposed in the monitoring report that we could go from a quarterly to a semi-annual basis, which would that cut your cost in half right
Yes.
there.
You want to
But-
tackle the iron manganese? I can hook you up with
Yeah.
another geologist
Oh,
if
yeah.
you need some help.
If it doesn't turn into, the thing with the water board is once you propose something to them,
Right.
they will put you to work with a million work plans to prove what you,
I've done it.
as long as it doesn't turn into a sinkhole of money for the city, I'm okay.
No, we ain't gonna spend no money. We're just gonna do it.
Yeah. No, I'm all for,
You
yeah.
thought we were gonna pay you for that.
That's another thing that's, as a geologist, the stuff I
It's a
hear,
volunteer thing, Chris.
It's all volunteer.
I'm sure you could take the volunteer
No, well-
thing real far. But, yeah.
But that is a problem, and I know it's one that you could probably fix, or
Uh,
at least attempt it.
Well, the source of the iron and manganese?
Well, yeah, we talked about it. It's the laterite that's what's doing it, but
Okay, yeah.
We'll
There's
talk sometime
mobilized,
about it.
yeah, iron oxides, yeah.
okay, all right. Well, have any questions for us?
Well, I have more respect for the work you guys do and the amount of reading and time you put in for no pay, and I greatly.
We get $200 a month. What are you talking about?
Hey, that's half unemployment.
per hour.
We're almost there.
You're talking,
Okay.
more recycling, whatever.
Well, thanks a lot, Chris, for
Yeah.
coming in.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
guys.
Yep,
You're more than
appreciate
welcome to
the candor.
stick around and enjoy the show, or
Okay, or
there's cookies in the back and coffee, or you can go home and watch it on Zoom, or whatever you want to do.
I was gonna, well, I'll hang around for a little bit. I was gonna pick up dinner in a little bit for the family and head home.
Well, just so you know, our next appointment is at 6:30 unless
Okay.
Rodney happens to be here, so we got a half hour, so
I'll
you
check it
can,
out on Zoom, or,
you can go and come back if you want.
live action.
They get wilder in a couple hours, I don't know.
We got our camera fixed now, so you
Local
can
drama,
see us on Zoom.
reality TV.
All right, Chris,
Thanks, sir.
have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you for your interest.
Yeah, well, thank you for considering.
Rodney's here, the house. Yeah.
It's on
Yeah.
South Sacramento Street.
In, sit down.
A little cottage looking house.
Oh, it's on the
Yellow.
right across from Legion.
Hello, Rodney.
Hello.
Hello there.
Good afternoon, or good evening, I should say.
Yeah, the Legion Hall right there, VFW, I mean.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're gonna ask a couple of questions. And we got 5 questions.
Junior high school,
Oh, okay.
on the right-hand side,
Okay, I know.
South Sacramento.
Yes, I want to silence the audience behind
Dead
us.
end.
Hey, Dad. We're back in.
Me first?
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Dad.
All right. Please tell us about yourself, your background, and why you believe you would be the best qualified to serve as a council member for the city of Ione.
Okay, I've met Mr. Mayor and Madam Councilwoman Ratton before. My name is Rodney Plamondon. I'm a lifelong resident of Amador County. Most recently, obviously, here in Ione. I live out here in Castle Oaks, and prior to that, I've lived out in Comanche. Little bit about myself. I've been married for 29 years. My wife is from Lodi. We're a blended family of 4 children each. My 2 youngest daughters both went to school up here and graduated from, junior high here and Argonaut High School, both of them. I also have a son and an older daughter, and between the 4 of them, they've given us 9 grandchildren as well. So we're pretty much rooted in the area. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. Like I said, I'm a lifelong Amador County resident. I currently work for the city of Lodi. I've been there almost 19 years, working in the water and wastewater department, and that's led me to get several certifications in water distribution and groundwater collections. Currently, we rotate crews, so I've done everything in, maintenance and inspection and supervision of our sewer transmission and water distribution systems for the city of Lodi, a city of 80,000 people. I currently supervise a crew of anywhere from, 3 to 5 people doing those maintenance and inspections. I'm also a member of the United States Army, California Army National Guard. I've been doing that for 34 years. I've served in all 3 components. 34 years, I'm a little closer to the end than I am the beginning. But I currently am a brigade command sergeant major. Between myself and the commander, we supervise 4,400 soldiers. And I believe there's a lot of experience there that makes me the best candidate, not just my civilian experience in dealing with the municipality and those sorts of things and the infrastructure aspect, but my experience in the Army, there and supervising that many soldiers and the budget that comes along with the training and supervision of those. Currently, we're planning an exercise that's going off in January, where our budget for that exercise in our brigade is $27 million. Where I'm not the actual counter of the money, I am absolutely responsible with how, where, and how it is spent. And along the lines of other things that I've done there, I've deployed several times, all around the world doing things. And my current level is less of a what's happening now, more of a strategic thinking kind of thing of what's happening in the future and guiding whatever element I'm in charge of, or in some cases, most recently like in Ukraine, helping those individuals and helping their army and their government establish themselves along the strategic plan of how to become more NATO interoperable. And where I think that equates to what we're looking for here in the city is where we take the city of Ione into the future in that strategic thinking and all the stuff that I've been trained in. I also have a degree in public safety and emergency management, and also I'm a graduate of the United States Army Sergeant's Major Academy, which really is, I don't get a master's degree out of it. I get several units for it, but it is graduate level work. So that's just a little bit about myself.
Nice. Okay. We'll move on to the second question. Do you have specific goals you want to achieve in the 4-year term of this appointment, and do you have longer-term goals that you would like to see the city move toward in the next 10 years?
I would have to take a little bit of an opportunity to sit down and look at exactly where the council's come in the last 2 years and see how I can best support the goals of what we're already aimed at for the near future. And for the long-term goals for myself, the city is growing. The goal for myself as it grows, and moves into the future in such a way that both infrastructurally and economically we're sound. I think with my background with the city, the infrastructure portion is where I bring the most knowledge to bear, and just making sure that we not only fix kind of the infrastructure, some of the infrastructure problems we currently have, but that we're set up in the future so we don't pass any kind of those issues down to the next generations. And just, kind of a saying in the Army is, leave it much better than I found it. And that's the big goal, and work as a team with y'all and just leave the city better where we found it. Still, we talk about the city growing, but to grow in a manner where we don't lose that small town charm and what Ione really is and what it stands for.
Good. What do you see as Ione's most pressing issue, and how can you be a part of the solution to help solve it?
Well, one of the issues that I hear a lot of is the wastewater issue and dealing with the prison there. And again, that's an environmental issue that goes back to what I just spoke about as far as our infrastructure issue, and also where I have a great deal of knowledge in dealing with wastewater. Is that the most pressing issue for the city? Again, I'd have to dig into all of the issues and decide, but what's my biggest issue may not be, my neighbor's biggest issue, but dealing with, the neighbors and the citizens I own, and then prioritizing what might be their biggest issues. But personally, as a citizen, that's one of the biggest issues that I see in dealing with that.
Thanks.
Number 4, if you are appointed to city council as a prospective council member, are you currently aware of any potential conflicts of interest which would prevent you from fully participating in council decisions? That's the first half.
No, sir. As far as any business acquaintances or anything like that, absolutely not.
Okay, very good. In addition to regular council meetings, you will have committee assignments that involve both daytime and nighttime meetings. You have the ability to fulfill this requirement.
I do. Sometimes I do have, I'm currently on the planning commission, and occasionally I do have a little bit of a conflict with the Army. And 90% of the time I can manipulate my schedule there to make it work here. There are those times when I'm like, we got a $27 million exercise coming up in June that I will absolutely have to be a part of. But no, sir, I think I can invest quite a bit of my time. This is my home. This is where we put down roots, and it's where I'm going to retire to and stay.
Very good, thank you.
And last question. How many local committees or service boards have you been involved in within the last 5 years, and do you regularly attend council meetings?
Well, I'll answer the first one last. I do not regularly attend council meetings. I have, watched a couple on Zoom over the last year. Would I attend? Potentially, especially if there's an issue there that's come up and something I want to take my opportunity to speak about with the public comment. As far as committees, I spent the last 2+ years serving on the Parks Commission and dedicating some time to the city there. And a couple months ago, you all currently voted me up to the Planning Commission, which I am enjoying so far. And if not selected, I will continue to serve there, and help build the city that way.
Thanks.
Thank you. You have any questions for us, Rodney?
No, sir. No, sir. I'm sure you guys will make the best decision for the best interests of the city and the citizens of Ione, and I really do appreciate the time and the opportunity to at least be heard and considered.
All right, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're more than welcome to hang out here with us, or
We're moving a little
or you can always
fast.
come back there, whatever you want to do.
Well, we're moving a little faster than we thought too.
We'll be making a
so-
decision here in a while, so I don't know if you want to.
And we have some cookies and coffee in the back if you'd like to enjoy some.
Thank you. I'll stick around. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. So I guess our next one is going to be, well, Richmond.
What time is she coming?
Do we know if she's coming in earlier or not? Hello, Miss Noel Richmond.
Hello.
Hi there.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming in early.
You're absolutely welcome.
That's what we were thinking. I think everyone liked what we're doing, so. Anyhow, what we're gonna do is welcome, coming, and we're gonna have 5 questions that we're gonna ask you, and at the end of those questions, you can ask us questions if you like. So we'll start off with Diane reading you question number 1.
Please tell us about yourself, your background, and why you believe you would be the best qualified to serve as the Ione City Council member.
Well, I'm pretty much a lifelong resident of the Ione area. We moved up here in 1973, moved away from Ione a few times to go to school, and lived in Nevada for a while, then came back. My background is, like I said, I was raised here very actively involved in all types of extracurriculars growing up, and then as an adult, I've been very active with our school district, both at the site level as a site council president for Ione Elementary for 6 or 7 years. Worked on keeping science camp alive in Ione Elementary because they were going to get rid of that. Worked on the district advisory committee. Worked on the bond effort to get the bond passed to build all the new buildings at the junior high. And the last real project I worked on with the school district was the district advisory committee that worked on coming up with a solution regarding the school sites in terms of consolidating high schools, junior highs, and that was about a year-long committee. I'm also very involved in community level activities. I was president of the Ione Picnic Association for, how old's my daughter? I started working and volunteering in 98. Finally backed away from homecoming about 2015. So I'm also volunteer a lot around the community. I'm not a member of the IBCA, but I do a lot of volunteer activities. I work shifts at the fireworks booth, help out wherever I need to be, help out. I've just gotten involved with Rotary, Ione Rotary, and I was the Ag Boosters president for both the high school ag programs, ag education programs for 7 years. I'm very deeply involved with the county fair in the junior livestock area. I've been part of the Junior Livestock Advisory Committee since, really active since about 2006. I am the second vice president for the County Farm Bureau. And let's see, I was also a Grange leader, which is an equivalent to 4-H. We started up a Grange in Ione Gold Country Grange for 7 years. I currently work for CAL FIRE. I've been a state employee for almost 21 years now. With that background, along with a lot of the things that I've done locally in my volunteer efforts, and the experience I've had with the state and state funding and budgets and having to pass budget change proposals and write multi-million-dollar budget change proposals, I think that I have a pretty good grasp on understanding how governmental funding works, and a lot of the a lot of the intricacies and the regulations and the titles and the penal, and all government codes that go along with that. Additionally, I moved back here to raise my children. I thought it was a good community. We have a great community, and I think that all that kind of wrapped up in one, and my passion for this area and this county would suit me and qualify me as a good candidate for council.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Question number 2. Do you have specific goals you want to achieve in the 4-year term of this appointment, and do you have longer term goals you would like to see the city move toward in the next 10 years?
I think that, short-term goals, I know the city has had issues, as a lot of small communities, small counties have issues with budgets and funding, and I would, short-term goals, I would love to see, the city budget stabilize, get to a point to where we can move forward with bigger projects. I think that the city needs to, I would love to see more commercial industrial businesses come in, because that's where the tax base is. It's not in homes. I would also, even though we do have housing developments going in like Wildflower, and they're building out the next phase of the golf course, this county is sorely lacking in multifamily homes, whether it be condos or, identified, duplex, triplex kind of things. Because having kids in their early 20s, excuse me, it's very difficult. It's a very expensive time to be renting in California, and it's very difficult to find affordable housing. And I think we tend to lose a lot of our younger workforce because of that, because they can't afford to live here and work locally. So they go to where they can more readily afford, lodging and living in a home closer to where they work. I think that we also, we've got the sewer plant issue. We have, Mule Creek, the issue at Mule Creek State Prison with the water there. I think that's something that, I know that the city has been working towards trying to get some resolution on that for years. And I think the biggest thing short term is just kind of getting the house in order, per se, and then working towards sustainable growth, both in homes and in businesses, commercial, industrial businesses coming into the city.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. What do you see as Ione's most pressing issue, and how can you be a part of the solution to help solve it?
I think the most pressing issue, there's some very important issues, but I think I touched on it a little bit on my last answer. I do think that we need to make sure that our infrastructure is solid for the city, whether that's water, sewer, tax base. It kind of melts together. I think, but I do think that we just need to, the most pressing issue is just to make sure, and it looks like from everything I've read and followed, that the city's been moving towards getting more of a balanced budget, and I think that that's a huge thing moving forward. I think that's probably the most pressing issue, because without solvency, you can't really go and explore and try and tackle new projects or new issues if we're always worried about the budget.
If you're appointed to city council as a prospective council member, are you currently aware of any potential conflicts of interest which would prevent you from fully participating in council decisions? That's the first half.
No.
Good. Second half there is, in addition to regular council meetings, you will have committee assignments that involve both daytime and nighttime meetings. Do you have the ability to fulfill this requirement?
Yes, I've spoken with my work superiors, and they're aware that I have put in an interest letter for this and fully support my decision. I've spoken with Stacy because I did have a concern working for CAL FIRE. Sometimes during fire season, I do get sent out for support for our incidents, or if we have serious accidents. I'm part of the team that does reviews of that, but those are few and far between. But I am able to meet the day and evening commitments.
Thank you.
Number 5, I think you covered most of it. The only section that you haven't. Do you regularly attend the council meetings, either by Zoom or in person?
Actually, I don't. I've come infrequently. I try to. It's one of those things where I see it and I say, oh, I need to go. And then because of some of my other commitments, it just falls off my radar. So I would say I'm not a regular attendee.
Okay.
All right. You have any questions for us?
I think just pertaining to question number 4, when you're talking about daytime and nighttime meetings, can you, other than council meetings and maybe some of the, like the Parks and Recreation Board, or some of the other things that would apply to?
There's a whole sheet of committees, and you can choose to be on them or not. And usually the mayor appoints them, and we just about ratify it.
They usually get on 1 or 2, and during COVID, most of them don't even exist anymore, so it's.
They don't exist, or they're Zoom. Or the other thing is, there's always an alternative too. There's usually, most committees, there's 2 main people and then there's an alternative. So if you can't make it, usually someone else can fill in.
Right.
Sometimes it's rare when somebody can't make the meeting. We try to share that a little bit, but lately it's just been hit and miss, and almost all Zoom anyway, so most of us are someplace else watching in.
So
That's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so if you did get called up to work, someone's gonna back you up.
Then once in a while we get into a project where there'd be meetings maybe once a week where it's something that's really of some intense nature, where you've got a deadline or something to meet. Those are infrequent with COVID and everything. We feel like we lost a year, at least I do anyway, because of the whole thing. But I feel like we're getting back to a little more normal, a little bit more, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Once in a blue moon, you get a meeting like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right, precisely. Other than that, I brought copies of my resume. I don't know if you guys have seen those, so if you need copies, I do have them. And I love this community, and I think that I would be an asset to the council and to the city. I think that I do have a lot to offer. But other than that, I have no other questions for you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming in
Yeah, no
and
problem.
offering. It's a
Thank you.
huge thing. I mean, it's,
Thank you.
You're more than welcome to stick around and watch the show, or you can go, or go come back, whatever you wanna do.
Thank you. I'm gonna take the mic with me.
there you go.
Okay, our next one is Bill. Bill, you? Okay, we're gonna go back in our 5th here this evening. Welcome, Bill.
How are you this evening?
Good. Baloo, is that how I pronounce that?
Blue, yes, it
Baloo.
is.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for coming, and we got 5 questions that we're going to ask you. I believe you have the questions in front of you, so we'll start off with Diane reading your question. Oh, don't.
Give him one. You can read along.
Sorry about that. Make sure he's got the right one too, Don.
It's the longer one.
The long
yeah,
one.
The long one.
Okay, number 1, please tell us about yourself, background, and why you believe you would be the best qualified to serve as a council member for the city of Ione.
As noted, my name is Bill Baloo. I've lived in Ione approximately 8 years. My background has been, I spent 32 years in the entertainment industry, both music, film, and TV. I was a coordinator. I traveled around the country and I negotiated contracts for the musician to come in or the production company to come in or whatever they need. I've been in business for myself many times. I've also I've done a lot of charity work. My last one, I was given a certificate by the State Assembly Legislature, about that long. That was in November of 19. I've done a lot of service work as far as handicapped and disabled in Los Angeles and in Spokane, Washington. I'm a graduate of a Washington State Basic Law Enforcement class, and I love Ione. I don't think I've ever been anywhere else. I moved away at a great expense and come back a year later, 30 years.
Well, thank you.
I hope that answers your question.
That's pretty good, thank you.
Question number 2. Do you have specific goals you want to achieve in the 4-year term of this appointment? And do you have longer term goals you would like to see the city move toward in the next 10 years?
There are certain things that I'd like to consider or have considered, look at as far as the town is concerned. I really like the idea of the park that just added the facilities for the kids. I think that's something this town could use, is a little bit more of activities for the kids. I know we have been postponed on our homecoming and that, but there's other things that we can do. And I would just really be interested in figuring out ways how to make this, it's already great, but maybe we could all together work to make it better. Stop some of this traffic that's coming through here and spend some of their money here.
Yeah, good idea.
Of course, we have to come up with parking, but we could do that.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
we'll
Good
get to
answer.
that one.
What do you see as Ione's most pressing issue, and how can you be a part of the solution to help solve it?
Biggest problem that I've seen is traffic. It's slowly every year been increasing. I tried to get with your sheriffs, with your police department as a volunteer. Personally, with the new additions to the home and the expansion of the prison, the traffic is becoming quite an issue, especially with traffic with heavy equipment because of the mine. I don't know, there's not much that can be done, but I know there are certain things that we could do to get it under control. The police department does a fantastic drive with 11% rate of ticketing. You know, that's pretty unheard of. And your new chief has got a real good hand on it all. And to me, that would be one of the things that I'd like to look at, maybe some street lighting in different places. But mainly that would be one of my big concerns.
Okay, thanks.
Number 4, it's a 2-part question here. If you were appointed to council as a prospective council member, are you currently aware of any potential conflicts of interest which prevent you from fully participating in council decisions?
Absolutely not. I don't like to voice comments on things I don't know much about. I am a listener. I was asked today if I was Republican or Democrat. I said I'm independent. And
I'm a fact finder. I like to know all the sides and all the issues, and I have no conflict with anybody in this community at all. Except that guy that rides around on that bicycle with that boom box.
I agree.
I want to already talk about that, but other than that, I'm just fine.
We haven't got a limit on watts yet, but there'll be something. We're up about 500, I think, anyways. Second half of this question is, in addition to regular council meetings, you will have committee assignments that involve both day and night time meetings. Do you have the availability to fulfill that requirement?
I'm retired. My wife would like to say, yes, take him anytime. But yeah, I do. I am totally retired. I have a little side business where I go around fixing houses for little widows and things like that. I kind of like that. But other than that, none whatsoever. I do have my VA medical, and I have Agent Orange. Not as severe as others, but enough.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And last but not least, how many local committees or service boards have you been involved in within the past 5 years? And do you regularly attend the city council meetings?
No,
No to both?
no to both.
Okay.
I can imagine some, but
Okay.
the only thing I wanted to do was get involved with the police department. And I started to attend the academy that was going on, but then they had to postpone it because of the COVID.
Right.
I've done some things in the community with some of the kids. I've donated toys to the police department for kids and things like that. But other as far as really any activities, none whatsoever.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for stepping forward, appreciate it.
yeah, yeah. And with that said, do you have any questions for us?
No, I don't. I think I read a lot about your agendas and follow you a little bit there. And as of this moment, I have no questions at all.
Okay. Yeah, and thank you for what you have been doing, so.
Thanks.
Appreciate your time.
Happy to do it.
And you're more than welcome to sit and enjoy the rest of the show.
I could do that.
Thanks, sir.
Would you like for this
Yeah, I'd like to look at that.
to be left here?
Oh, the questions,
Sure.
sure, yeah.
And I want to see your,
Thanks.
Thank you for being here.
Welcome, Mr. Custer. We're going to read you a couple questions. I think you have them in front of you. We'll start off with Diane reading question number 1.
You could please tell us about yourself, background, and why you believe you would be the best qualified to serve the City of Ione City Council.
Thank you very much. I didn't expect this, and I was thinking of about 8 o'clock being interviewed, so I really appreciate it, coming in and getting started right away. It helped a little bit with anxiety. Well, I've been in Ione since 2003, just before Christmas. Our family moved here, and we love the town. It's a wonderful community. And this is one of the main reasons that I would like to serve. I think this particular council has a lot of background for the city, very knowledgeable, various areas, all of you. And my experience at Preston Youth Facility, 21 years there as a psychologist, even before we moved here, helped me to gain a perspective, I think, for Ione and the things that are really important, I think, for a small town like this. There are two really kind of pet projects that I would like to look at. But I think that at this particular time, I'm sure that other candidates, for example, the candidates from last November, I liked all three. And I think there are a number of people that really are well qualified to serve on the city council. But at this particular time, I think my particular background and knowledge with respect to Preston and other features of issues with respect to that the council would be looking at. One is the depot that I'm thinking of. I have some, I think, very important ideas to look at with respect to the historic train depot. But so it's a combination of things that I would say is that other candidates might be better qualified in some respects, and within 2 years it might be the right time for them. But right now, with the things that the city is looking at, I feel that my experience is going to apply the best, really. So, thank you.
Okay, question number 2. Do you have specific goals that you want to achieve in the 4-year term of this appointment, and do you have longer-term goals that you would like to see the city move toward in the next 10 years?
Okay, well, I touched on a couple of those.
Yeah.
The Preston Youth Facility, it's historic. It's an historic site, and it is now surplus. 75 acres of historic Preston School of Industry are under surplus through the Department of Corrections. There are a number of things that are involved in this, well, in the site, the historic site, and the interaction between local government and state government, I think, is really important on this right now. And so, as I've said, indicated, my background, in other words, I really know every inch of that facility, inside and outside. Outside of the perimeter, it goes all the way up to the boundaries with Mill Creek, Waterman Road, and private property on the other side of the water treatment plant. And there's a significant part of that property that I think should be transferred from the state to the city. I think local government is best prepared to take care of that. The other portion that is now surplus, about 75 acres, the historic portion, I would really like to see transferred to Historic Preston Foundation. A small group of volunteer directors of a nonprofit board that have developed a plan to turn just really transform the facility into a veterans and Native American families academy. We have a name for it. We're calling it Castle City Heritage Institute. So I would like to be able to work with, obviously, all segments of the community, the county, the city, and the foundation in developing this plan and interacting with the appropriate officers for the city to accomplish these goals.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Question number 3, what do you see as Ione's most pressing issue, and how can you be a part of the solution to help solve it?
Well, I think right now it's very difficult with respect to Mill Creek Prison and issues with respect to the leakage, sewage, that and how the Department of Corrections and the state in general how they have approached interaction with local government. And I don't feel that local government has been well received and understood. And so I think that the most pressing issue probably would be the issue with Mill Creek effluent and how they're going to manage that. And I understand that there were probably, I don't know the details on this, but I understand that there was under the contract with the new prison that there was supposed to be a tertiary wastewater treatment plant taken care of for the city. Maybe I'm mistaken, but that's the understanding that I had. And I'm not sure to what extent that was placed in the contract. So that would be the most pressing.
Thank you.
If you are appointed to city council as a prospective council member, are you currently aware of any potential conflicts of interest which would prevent you from fully participating in council decisions? That's the first half.
No, I don't know of any.
Okay. In addition to regular council meetings, you will have committee assignments that involve both daytime and nighttime meetings. Do you have the ability to fulfill this requirement?
I think I do. I'm retired.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
And last is, how many local committees or service boards have you been involved with in the last 5 years? And do you regularly attend city council meetings?
Okay, as far as council meetings, I've been attending probably 1 to 2 within the last year per month. In other words, about half of the meetings because of interest, strong interest. And the primary service board, of course, is Historic Preston Youth Facility. Yeah, Historic Preston, excuse me. Historic Preston Foundation, or Historic Preston Restoration Foundation, which with other volunteers, we initiated the foundation in 2016. So it's been available now for 4 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You have any questions for us, being you're here?
Am I the last person to do it?
No.
Oh, no. But I'm not gonna give you 4 hours to talk.
This is part of the procedure for others to be able to stay and listen.
Once you're done with the interview, you're welcome to stay.
Yes, you can stay, yeah. So, yeah, you can go ahead and have a sitting audience and enjoy the show.
Well, there were other things that I could say, but this is really good. I appreciate the questions and your response. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Earl.
Thank you for coming.
Hello, Miss Lori Lord.
Hi, Mayor Rhodes, how are you?
Good. Glad you can make it. We switched the agenda around so we can move things up, so.
Well, I want to thank you all for inviting me to interview for the vacancy. Thank you.
Can you put the microphone a little closer to you, just so people online can hear you?
Hello?
You don't put it that close, but that's good. Okay, so what we're gonna do, you got 5 questions in front of you. We're each gonna take turns reading them off one by one to you. And we're gonna start off with Diane.
Please tell us about yourself, background, and why you believe you would be the best qualified to serve as a council member for the city of Ione.
I have lived in Ione for 21 years. I've been attending meetings almost that whole time. I've lived in the older section of Ione, so I'm familiar with what it's like over there. I now live in Castle Oaks. I've been a member of some sort of civic group for 15 years or other. As a background, I have, in my previous life, I owned a business. I had a hair salon and a health club a long time ago. I have an associate's degree in legal assisting. Sadly, haven't had to use that, haven't had an opportunity to use that very much. I've worked for a local land developer for 14 years now, and through that I've learned a few things about land developing and entitlements and things like that. As far as why I would be best qualified, I think because I've taken an active interest in Ione for the whole time that I've been here. I always try to come up with ways to solve problems here. I'm not afraid to talk to people about those things. I believe that I think to be a good member of your town, it's important that you actively participate in what it does. To that end, of course, as you all know, I've been with IBCA for about 13 years, and while doing that, I've been the driver behind several projects that you all are familiar with. I did all the legwork for all 3 of the archival plaques. I did all the legwork for the dog park, and all the legwork, except for install, of the Welcome to Ione sign. And in addition to that, as I was one of 2 between me and Sharon Long, we put together 2 cleanup days for Ione, and collected, I don't know, 80,000 pounds of trash. This has been several years ago that we did that. And then I go twice a year I'm one part of the crew that comes out and helps put up and take down all the Christmas or fall decorations. I take care of the pumpkin contest for the harvest fair. So I've just been an active participant in the city ever since I've ever been here.
Thank you.
Question number 2, do you have specific goals you want to achieve in the 4-year term of this appointment? And do you have longer term goals you would like to see the city move toward in the next 10 years?
I think the main goal that I'd like to see 2 things happen. Economic development is crucial, I think, to the city of Ione. I have some ideas about how to deal with that. And I'd like to continue to help staunch the bleeding. Mayor Rose, I think it's fantastic that you found just $750 a month in an AT&T phone bill. So, I'm hopeful that I could continue to find ways to save Ione money. We got to stop the bleeding and increase the revenue. So I do have some ideas about that. One thing that I would like to see happen to Ione is measured growth. And part of that is commercial as well as housing. We have a lot of homes coming into Ione, and Ione's going to have to provide services, and sure better to keep them on this end of town than have them go up the hill. So, Ione will never have, 5 or 6 blocks long commercial area. We've got to figure out other places to put them, and I've often thought, wouldn't it be great to have, at least it's a starting point, a nice architectural rendering up there of what a little shopping center area could look like, whether that goes on the front of Castle Oaks or, maybe up Waterman. I know people, but there has to be we have to develop other areas that have to really attract people to want to stay right here. I'd also like to see us find a way to create a storage unit over there on Collings Lane. There's a nice little 1-acre parcel that would suit it beautifully. Has 2 fences that you don't have to worry about security. So there's that, and I also think it'd be great if we could start a stormwater utility fee, because dealing with stormwater is a heavy burden on the city of Ione during big rain years, and I'm kind of a user pays within reason person, so if we were to start a stormwater utility fee, then we would have money to maintain and improve our stormwater collection distribution service.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. What do you see as Ione's most pressing issue, and how can you be a part of the solution to help solve it?
I think the most pressing issue kind of goes back again to economic development. We need to generate more income. Any luck, at some point here, we're going to come to fruition on the Ione Hotel, so we'll maybe develop some TOT at some point. I think, I mean, that's the crux of it. Other than that, I think that Ione can do more to help businesses be even more successful. When I look across the street and I see the skeleton sign, what used to be Clark's Corner, I think, why hasn't the city helped figure out how to get that a nice, beautiful sign again? When I, excuse me, present company excluded, when I see there be a difficulty with a sign to advertise our beautiful golf course, I have a little bit of a problem with that. I could be wrong about this, but it's my understanding that the reason there's not a medical center on the corner of Shakely and Preston is because somebody insisted that the door face Shakely. Am I wrong about that? Instead of being able to face into the parking lot, and so there became a circulation issue. Again, I just say these things to demonstrate that it seems like Ione could be more helpful to find a way in instead of not as much for future businesses.
If you're appointed city council as a prospective council member, are you currently aware of any potential conflicts of interest which would prevent you from fully participating in council decisions?
No, sir.
The second half of that is, in addition to regular council meetings, you will have committee assignments that involve both daytime and nighttime meetings. Do you have the ability to fulfill this requirement?
I do now, and it'll get even easier. I've got a big circle on December 31, retirement, so,
Nice, very good.
yeah,
Lucky you.
fingers crossed.
And number 5, I think you pretty much answered already. How many local committees or service boards have you been involved in? You answered that. And you do regularly attend city council meetings, so you've answered that one as well.
Yeah, the only other thing I would want to remind you is, as you guys know, I was on Parks and Rec for 8 years. Still, I've been working ever since it was brought up, with the Big Red Barn fundraiser to try to get the Depot Park going. I've learned a lot in the last day about where's the money. We have the money, we just have to go ask for it. I'd really like to see that park become just a really standout, beautiful park.
And you were once on council before.
In fact, I have been.
Yes.
Just when I was getting figured out. You came along.
You have any questions for us?
I don't really know.
Okay, well, with that said, you can sit in the audience and watch the rest of the show.
One more left.
So we have one more left.
It could be a little windy at times.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting back to order. Our last candidate has showed up. Bridget, welcome.
Thank you.
What we're going to do here is we got 5 questions that you have in front of you. We're going to each read one to you, and you can take your time to answer them. We'll start off with question 1.
Please tell us about yourself, your background, and why you believe you would be the best qualified to serve as a council member for the city of Ione.
And first of all, I'd like to thank the council for interviewing me. My background is I worked for the state for 30 years. Am I too close? And I've been involved in communities in the places I've lived in El Dorado County, in Sacramento County, and now Amador County. I was volunteer for WEAVE in Sacramento County, and I court-appointed advocate in El Dorado County, and I'm on the board of directors for Operation Care in Amador County. Also, during my time of employment for Department of Corrections, I was involved with the City of Ione for various issues with that particular department. with your prison located here. So I'm aware of things in Ione. I moved up here a year ago with my husband, and we're enjoying the community. And I think that in the year I've been here, it's a very small town, which is nice. A lot of people are moving up here. There's a lot of new houses being built. And I think that the city of Ione has a lot to offer people, but I think there's more we could do for the small businesses, such like the Frosty Place that went out of business and things like that. And also for the community itself that have children. A lot of people are up here that have retired, moved from the Bay Area, big cities. So there's a lot of things already here. And there's also a lot of things I think that can become more of City of Ione without losing the intimacy of a small town.
Thank you.
Question number 2, do you have specific goals you want to achieve in the 4-year term of this appointment? And do you have longer term goals that you would like to see the city move toward in the next 10 years?
Some of the specific goals I think would be to look at maybe a youth center that's closer than Jackson or other areas for the children and the teenagers. There's and I think that we could add a little more to the parks, like the park on Shakely and Fairway, maybe make a half basketball court because there's a lot of teenagers that go there and things like that. I think that there, and to improve again on what the community would like to see the City of Ione do, to more encourage the community residents to be involved, and achieve for maybe having some of the businesses, the bigger businesses, like contractors, etc., that are building homes around here, to help facilitate some of the improvements that maybe we could do because they are located in this area and they have the means to help the city become more of a more community-oriented for the families that are moving here. Granted, there are a mix of retirement people and people that are coming with small children and teenagers, and etc. So I think that for the 4-year term, I think that would be something that we could work on. Also, I believe that since a lot of the staff at the prison are residents of City of Ione, that they too could help with some improvements for donations and things like that. I know it's a state entity, but there are ways to have them assist in sponsoring things. For the next 10 years, I would think that the whole purpose of why people move here is for the intimacy. And I think in doing that in the next 10 years, it would be to maintain that intimacy, but still make it a desirable place for people to come and live and raise their families or retire and enjoy knowing the people next to you at the table when this pandemic is all over. For people to know each other and get to know each other and things like that. The intimacy, I think, is important. That's why people move up here. I think it's very important to people to come out of the big cities into towns like this. I also resided in Cameron Park, and so I think that's what people are looking for. And I think for the next 10 years, we do have to, I know, probably make room for more homes, like the ones being added onto Wildflower and the ones over by Castle Oaks. But at the same time, maintain and make sure the residents that are already here stay here and have opportunities to enjoy the town.
Thank you.
What do you see as Ione's most pressing issue, and how can you be a part of the solution to help solve it?
What I read is it seems to be forever going on, is your sewer issue with the prison into the water system. Also, I think that there are vacant buildings around the town that we could maybe work on to improve or advertise advertise or get sponsors to come and occupy those buildings for businesses. And I think that to solve that, I think we could show how the city of Ione supported their local businesses during this pandemic, because we all did. And I think that part of my asset to solve issues with the sewer part is I have contacts in the Department of Corrections that might be able to help get notice more that this is a pressing issue for this city and what we need to fix it. And the also is that I think when builders want to come and build, or anybody wants to come and build, that we make sure that they add something to it to help the city, like a small business or a park or something that helps the residents of the city.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Number 4 here, if you are appointed to city council as a prospective council member, are you currently aware of any potential conflicts of interest which would prevent you from fully participating in council decisions?
No.
Okay, very good. The second part of that, in addition to regular council meetings, you'll have committee assignments that involve both daytime and nighttime meetings. Do you have the ability to fulfill this requirement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Diane, last question.
Last question. How many local committees or service boards have you been involved with in the last 5 years? And do you regularly attend the city council meetings?
I have been involved with Operation Care for Amador County for the last year and a half. I was appointed to their board. And now I've only listened to 2 city council meetings. And I have been involved in other counties. El Dorado County, I was a court-appointed advocate for 3 years. And again, we've in Sacramento County for 2 years. And then I was also a volunteer at Mercy Hospital for the elderly and the NIC unit. And those kinds of things, I've always been involved in the communities. I served on boards not for a community, but for sports. I was the president of Ponderosa Little League for 3 years in El Dorado County. I was also the president of the girls softball team in El Dorado County. My children are all grown now. And I was also president of the PTA for their schools when they were attending school. And in the high school, I was on their boards for grad nights, etc., and things like that. So I've been involved in all the communities I've lived in various aspects.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that said, do you have any questions for us?
If by chance I'm not selected as a council member, I'd like to have you keep my name in mind for other committees that I could participate on or help with. I really do thank you for your time for interviewing. I appreciate the time and giving me the chance to present myself to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
You can stay there if you want, because you're our last one, or you can sit in the audience chair, whatever you'd like.
Oh, do we wait for something?
Well, actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna open it up to public
Oh,
next.
okay.
We're gonna make a choice, so go ahead and grab a cup of coffee or some water if you need to. So at this moment, she is our last one. So I'm gonna open it up for public comment. We have any public comment?
The applicants are all They're gonna stand up and say, pick me.
Anyone on Zoom, Janice?
The only one we haven't submitted, and then muted at the moment.
Unmute him.
All right, if you have a comment, speak now.
Jim, do you have a comment?
Or hold your peace.
You should be able to see him.
No comments, but thank you.
Okay, Jim, thank you. Okay. Close public comment. Council discussion.
So what's I don't know, do we have a plan how we're gonna do this? Or just
What's our-
recommendations, or?
I was told by the attorney, we'll have a discussion, and it's gotta be an open, and then we're gonna call for a motion to appoint a candidate.
Okay.
I just want to say, we had a really impressive group of people here tonight, and thank you very much for volunteering your time and wanting to take this job on. It's not always easy. The good thing is, whatever happens, there's a lot of good people here. That there are other committees and there are other bodies that you know you can serve on, and some of you are super well qualified for that. So, going to be a tough choice.
I agree, there's a lot of talent.
Yeah, I'm always amazed who lives in town and what their backgrounds are. It's always impressive.
Yeah.
I've got 3 that I've pulled out as standouts in my opinion. And it's a tough call between the 3. They all 3, you guys all did great. You're all highly qualified and really bring, would be a real asset to the city council, I think. That's where I'm sitting. I've got it whittled down to 3, but I don't know where to go from there.
Are you whittled down to a certain amount now?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be out. Why always fall on me? I don't know. Like,
Because I'm the one who had to ask all the questions, Dan.
I'll
No,
make
the
the
easy
same
questions.
question.
I guess just hanging out on the wastewater committee too long. Looking at, I'm fortunately I'm friends with people. That's the problem, right?
Right.
But I look at Rodney's background. That's kind of my number 1 candidate at this point, just because I see the background and I realize that wastewater is a big thing, and any extra information we can get is 100% needed. That's I can, that's where I'm at.
I would agree with that. I've apparently been hanging around with you too long too then.
Yeah, it's pressing.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's great. Personally, I think Lori Lord served on the council for a year, did a really good job at that. She was appointed as interim. She's very active in parks. She's active even though she's no longer on parks. She attends a lot of meetings, which I think is important. Does a lot of fundraising for the community. So she is a pick that I like, and I don't disagree with what you just said about Rodney or if there's anybody really. I mean, they're all really great. I just personally think that sometimes when you have a little bit more experience and inside knowledge, as Lori said, you're on there for a year, and then it takes a while to kind of get up to speed. So she's my number 1 pick.
Well, I had 2, and I narrowed it down to 1, and I'm really impressed with Noelle Richmond. It looks like she has about every certificate ever known to man. Yeah. She's already somewhat ran the city of Ione most of her life. And I think her working where she does is a huge asset to us. So.
You got all my 3. Those are my 3. So at this point, where do we go? You're going to discuss who's got the better qualifications. I mean, Lori Lord's got some experience in the position. Rodney brings to the table a whole lot of information and a whole lot of knowledge on strategic planning, which we could absolutely use, wastewater, which we absolutely could use. Noelle brings years of experience in just the city of Ione, CAL FIRE. I mean, I'm a little torn.
Well, Danny said you've done this 100 times.
Not this one.
I guess you would have to call for a vote, right?
Well, so I'll call for a vote for each candidate that we kind of narrowed it down to.
I mean, I know in the past, what we did for city manager at least once was we would rank them 1, 2, and 3 and just add up the numbers, and then that was however the chips fell, that was what we did. Or you do top 4, whatever you want to do, but that was however you like to do it. That's one option, I don't know.
So what was the option again? I was right.
Sorry. You basically just write down your top 4 options, and then we can have Madam Clerk add up, whoever gets like, guess the lowest score gets it, I guess. That's one way to do it.
The highest score gets it, you mean?
Well, if you rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess, yeah. But if you
Oh, I
lowest
see,
score-
right, I got it.
Yeah.
So we would write down their names, put a score by it, and then give it to Janice?
1, 2,
1, 2, 3, 4,
4,
and then-
5,
in
6,
your,
7, 8.
in your
The
order.
order
In
of
your
what I
order.
would prefer.
Who you'd prefer.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
I'll make it fair. And number one is being number one.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he'll sandbag the whole thing. Do it the wrong way.
Any procedure, please?
Go ahead, Jim.
Want to remind the council that secret ballots are prohibited in the state of California.
It won't be a secret
It
ballot.
won't be a secret.
We'll have her name on it and we'll submit it to part of the record.
If you're going to take a written vote, each of the ballots has to have the name of the councilman.
We're doing that,
And
We're
Jim.
doing that.
ballots have to be made available to the public.
We're doing that, Jim.
You got it.
Okay, just reminding you, we went through this once before.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Are
Thanks,
you doing
Jim.
top 3 or 4? Stacy,
What's
top
that?
mayor, are we doing top 3 or 4? Top 3 or 4?
Well, if you want to do four, go.
Oh, it doesn't matter, I was just curious.
I thought we said three, but that's
Okay,
okay.
that's fine, 3's fine. All right.
Should be Dathan,
Should we date him?
Notarizing.
probably.
We'll date it
I'm gonna date it.
and sign it. And fingerprint.
Leave your DNA all over it. Today's the 25th, correct?
More information is better, yes.
What is the date thing?
25th. Okay, I'll collect them for you. And just so you know, if it ends up being a tie, we found out that Ione's protocols, we draw from straws, and that's the truth.
I forgot that, that's right. We never had that.
We're the only city that does it. Other ones,
You do? You really drop the straw?
every other city flips a coin, but the city of Ione draws straw.
So do we have?
We have straws on
We have
hand.
straws.
Full, straws by
Jim Nevin will have to give us accurate measurements of what.
There you go. Yeah, we've got it close.
If you don't like the same bid, it's a point.
And we'll have Lori McGraw double check the numbers.
Yes, you are. Out over here.
This is stressful. This
So
is-
the low number in this case wins, right?
You should, yeah.
The lowest number, correct, would do it. And I guess we have to read all of them, so put them in order first, please. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Does anyone know how to sing the Jeopardy song?
No pressure.
We need, this is where we need music, right? A little musical interlude.
All right, so how do we read these?
First, you need a microphone.
Yeah.
All right, so, first, we have 2 votes for Rodney, is number 1. one vote for Lori is number one, and one vote for Noel is number one.
So, sounds like Rodney?
Yeah, so now I think you need to read the
Second place.
list, right?
Yeah, you add up the
Yep.
total, like 1, 2, 3, how many ones they got. You add 1, 2, 3, have all the numbers that they got in each ballot.
County accountant. So,
Can I just read the written that we did?
Yeah, but I think they're adding him up and,
Can't you just read the ballots that we gave you?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
read them
Okay.
Yeah, just read
in
them.
for the record?
Yeah,
so Diane put Rodney, Lori, Noel. Dan put Rodney, Noel, Lori. Dominic put Lori, Rodney, Noel, Bridget. And Stacy did Noel, Rodney, Lori, Chris. So it looks like there's 2 for Rodney, 1 for Lori, 1 for Noel. And then second place would be Lori got second. She got a third. She got a first and a third. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Is that,
so
yes, it does. Okay.
So then Noel got first.
Noel got 1 first, 1 second,
Okay.
and 1 third. 2 thirds.
2 thirds, okay. And Rodney?
Rodney got 2 firsts, 1 second, 2 seconds.
Rodney and I think it is.
Someone needs to make a motion.
okay, can I get some to,
So I would make a motion that we appoint Rodney Pomondan as our new city council member.
And I'll second
have a first and a second? Make a motion. Bring it to a vote?
We're not getting on that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Sounds like ayes have it. Congratulations, Mr. Pomondan.
And once again, thank you to everybody. There's an election in 2 years, and there'll be 3 spots open, and
There will be.
And please, you'll have another opportunity that time, and you're all super nice people, and hopefully we can find a committee spot for.
Yeah, I was
for
gonna say,
the-
don't be a stranger.
Yeah, for the people that
there's-
didn't make it. So
There's
this
lots
time
of volunteer work that we need done here, and we thrive on our volunteer works.
Well, there's an opening on planning now, isn't there?
There will be.
There is.
There will be.
Yes, there is.
Well,
There you go.
There you
So
go, right?
so,
one
So-
seat filled leads to another seat open.
Right.
yeah, because he,
Domino effect.
Rodney has to resign from that, so.
Mhm.
So city clerk, advertise, there's a vacancy on planning now,
Yeah.
Yes.
so we can do this again.
Yeah.
We're trying to fill parks right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, has that been put out?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
So
closed.
let's get the planning one.
Put
on
that one
as
out
well.
there.
Just finish the newsletter.
Yeah.
Have to wait till April.
Okay,
Okay,
and thank you all for switching
Doesn't he get sworn in?
Do we have to swear him in?
No, I think
Or
at
are
the
we do it at the
council
meeting?
The next meeting.
next meeting, when it
Tuesday.
shows up next Tuesday, we'll swear.
Yes, Tuesday's our next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to thank all you guys for adjusting your times, so we
Oh, yeah.
shaved an hour and a half probably off this
Yeah.
process, so. I know Lori was in a shower, I think, when she was talking.
thanks, and I'd like to thank Janice as well for putting all the interviewers together. I know
Yeah.
there was some last minute stuff, and I think we might have a solution next time to get it in hard copies as well as emails, so that they don't get missed. But Janice worked late at night to put together the candidates, so that we wouldn't violate the Brown Act. So, thank you, Janice.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the cookies.
With that
Thanks for the
said,
food.
make a motion, we
Congratulations,
adjourn?
Rodney.
I motion we.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so moved. Second.
Adjourned.
Return.
What's that? Okay. What is that?
Thank you.